Nick Carter, how you doing, my man?
Very good. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm psyched to have you. I know you have a lot going on, which we're going to talk about. It's
I
like the
know.
moment
Sorry,
right
my
now.
dog. I'm doing an interview, baby. Give me a second. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, a lot to talk about. Sorry, I'm really been super busy. Been doing a lot of baseball and spending time with my kids now that they're on summer break. And then obviously doing work here in Vegas on Sphere. So it's been busy, but a really awesome ride.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to celebrate all of that because there's a lot to get into. But I guess to kick off this conversation and to kind of, celebrate you for a minute, I think it's so cool because when I think about you and your career and what you've done, the Backstreet Boys they kind of birthed this like golden era of the pop renaissance, so to speak, right? Like you guys came before NSYNC and Britney and Christina, and then everyone kind of came out. So I feel like you were the blueprint in many ways of what pop music should be and what the vibe is and the style of. Like, do you kind of feel that way too?
I mean, I think that we were definitely a part of a very special moment in time when it came to the kind of music that we were doing with Britney, Backstreet, and Sync, 90 Degrees, like all these guys that were, um, in late 90s, early 2000s. And it was a special time because technology really hadn't even been introduced. Things even peaked. We didn't even have cell phones really, the kind that we have nowadays where you could just capture things, you can capture video, you can, be on social media. So everybody had to go to a concert. Things were tangible. You were buying CDs. You were, hanging out with your friends, going to those concerts and enjoying like things in the moment. And I think that what happened was, um, I think what's happening now is that people are kind of reliving that in a lot of ways through their families, through their kids, generationally. That's why they're coming to these to Sphere, and it's very nostalgic for people, and we're seeing it's kind of in a way bringing a lot of people together. Things are crazy in the outside world, and our concerts are they're an escape, from that outside insanity sometimes. And so yeah, it's I'm very proud to be a part of a very special place and time with what we do. And if you want to say that we kind of pioneered it and we were, I like to also say that we're like one of the last people that still do what we do at that time, like with Britney and stuff, unless Britney goes on tour and you see her or in sync or whatever. We dance, we sing, we're performers, we're entertainers first and foremost. And people appreciate that when they come to our concerts and listen to our music. So yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, you guys put in the work, and I'm always fascinated, kind of where life takes you and like the choices you make that could change everything. And I know when you started out, you kind of had this option to do the Mickey Mouse Club or go
Yeah.
down this direction of going with the guys, and you chose something that wasn't a guarantee. Like Mickey Mouse Club was popping off, it was hot, people loved it,
Yeah.
everyone wanted to be on it, and you were like, I'm gonna go try this. Like that took some, balls to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was risky. Always been I guess risky and a sort of a gambler in that regards. I kind of like I mean, that was at the age of 12 when I had that opportunity, when my mother would be taking me to auditions and stuff like that. And we had auditioned for the Backstreet Boys, which was not a guarantee at the time. And I got the contract from Mickey Mouse Club, which was, I mean, they offered money at the time. And, my family, we really didn't have a lot of money or anything like that. And I was given the choice. I remember having the conversation with my mom, and she's like, "Well, you can do this or you could do that." And I said, "Well, let's try the Backstreet Boys. It seems like it might be fun." And then about a year later, the Mickey Mouse Club went off the air. Obviously, some of those kids made it out, whether it was Ryan Gosling or Britney Spears or Justin Timberlake or Jesus Chazé and all these people. I might have been a part of that story, but I wasn't, and I ended up a Backstreet Boy, and I think it worked out for the best.
Yeah, I love that story because you never know where life can take you. And if you're brave enough to take a risk, I
Yeah.
mean, the seemingly impossible can happen, which is pretty cool. All right, you mentioned this residency. It's like flooding my social media everywhere I look. It is videos of you guys just crushing it. So when you do something like this, such a big show, how do you go about selecting the songs and the set list? Are you like, well, what will the fans like, or what do we enjoy performing? What's that like?
Yeah, well, it started with the Millennium album,
Right.
and I think we wanted that to be the core of the show. We had this idea for to do almost like a Millennium 2.0 and just basically take it on a world tour. This was way before we had the opportunity with Sphere, and we were gearing up. We were gearing up for that. This was years ago, and things got busy and things changed a little bit, and we just decided, it wasn't the right time. And so, anyways, what I'm saying is that the core of Millennium 2.0, the core of the album was going to be for the show, and everything else was like, okay, well, we have to do um, hits, So thankfully, we have a lot of uh, records that very grateful for that we have a lot of hit records and stuff. So we just built it all around the Millennium album, and really we wanted to just give the fans their money's worth, and what they came to see. So it was like a show first and foremost. It has to be a show from top to bottom. When they leave that and they feel like they got their money's worth and they had an experience, and they're brought back to that great time in, like, 1999, 2000, 2001, when I like to say music was really the best. Maybe I'm biased.
No, I'm like totally I'm a millennial, I'm 39. I'm totally at the age where like new music comes out and I'm like, you know what? I like to hear the things I grew up with or like the artists I grew up with releasing new
Yeah.
music, Like it's there's something to be said for sure. Is there a song in this residency that just always, you're hyped up to perform every single time?
Oh God, I think now the songs that stand out that are fun to perform is Siberia, which is a deep cut on one of our records that a lot of people don't know, but there's some great visuals that go with it. I really like this section that we do where because Backstreet Boys was influenced a lot by R&B music, so I thought there was a lot of great R&B music, in the in 90s and early 2000s. And so on the Millennium record, there was you could hear that, whether it was the cover that we did from Joe, um, and there's also no one else. Well, that's no one else comes close. And then there's also a song that Kevin had written. So there's a section that we do like about four or five of those songs, and they weren't singles, they weren't hits or anything like that, but they were on the album. And that's a fun section to do because we're just doing like a little doo-wop dance kind of thing, little vocal harmony. And we're yeah, it's awesome because we have not performed those songs in so long, and the fans really like it. But yeah, there's Spanish Eyes, there's No One Else Comes Close, there's Back to Your Heart, there's uh, Perfect Fan, and those songs right there are really great. There's also another song too. We put out this new record, the Millennium 2.0, which has like a lot of uh, unreleased tracks, a remaster of the original Millennium album, and then also a new single called "Hey," and that one is a. I actually was hating on the song a little bit. I was like, "Ah, man, I don't know if we should put this song in the show," but it turns out that it's a really magical moment that people like. So I'm happy to perform that one.
Yeah, you have such a collection of great songs. Is there, I'm so curious, is there a Backstreet Boys song that gets in your head the most where you're like, "Oh my God, it's always in my head."
Oh God, Hey actually recently has been getting in my head a lot. But I think Spanish Eyes. I love that record. My buddy Andrew Fromm, he wrote that one, and obviously, there was a song that fans liked called "I Need You Tonight," which I was sort of featured solo on that on the Millennium album. and I hadn't really performed it in its original format in so many years, which was the original track. And I was like I was hating on that a little bit too, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I never really necessarily liked the version that was on the record, but we performed it on the Millennium Tour way back when, and fans liked it. And now that we're doing it, it's kind of retro sounding, and I think it really embodies like the sound of that time. You know what I mean? That, like, whether it was the sonic sounds on the record, the snares, the kicks, the different pads that were used, in the song. There, I feel like those things could have only been used at that time, and now that we're doing it, I'm like, oh, that kind of sounds kind of cool. I'm all right with it now. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Those are solid choices all around. And you also have your most recent solo album, which shot to number one worldwide upon its release. People are loving this album and are continuing to love this album. It came out earlier this year, of course. Love Life and Tragedy, Love Life Tragedy, I should say, which is such a powerful name. What do you attribute to your staying power, man? Because to be able to shoot to number one like that after being in the game for a while is no easy feat.
yeah, I didn't expect it at all. I was shocked, when that happened, because I had been working on that album for about 3 years. I did a solo tour called the Who I Am tour. I was originally going to name the album Who I Am or whatever, and I was just writing songs, and it became a kind of a safe space for me to kind of share a little bit of things that I have been going through in my life for the past 3 years, 4 years, and so I just kept, whenever I got inspired by something, or I felt like, okay, like, uh, I want to say something, I would call up my producers, and we would jump in the studio, and I'd write a song and record it. And so as time went on, I kind of was creating a collection of stuff that meant a lot to me, almost to the point where I was like, I don't even know if I'm ever going to put this thing out. I didn't know if I wanted to necessarily. Um, and then it just hit me one day, and I was like, I think maybe it was the title. I couldn't get my mind around the title of the album, and being like, well, there's the sound of there's just a lot of different types of songs. I feel like, oh, I gotta we as artists, sometimes we feel like, oh, we got to like conform to, like, this has to be what represents me or whatever. But then I was like, well, you know what, I might have a song that has a little country influence on it because I was feeling like country at the time. I might have a song that's a little more R&B. I might have a song that's a little more dance. I might have a song that's a little bit rock or whatever, or maybe an 80s feel. And I was like, well, let's not make it about, it has to be something. Let's just make it about the songs and the stories that the songs are kind of telling along the way. And that's when I came up with the idea, well, what does it mean? And I was like, well, there's a lot of love in my life. There's a lot of tragedy that I have gone through. And that's just like everybody else out there, like, I'm no different than anybody else out there. Just because I'm an artist or a singer, I'm still a father, I'm still a human being, and I feel, yeah. So the title of the record, when I came up with that, it made it to where I felt comfortable to put it out. And then I get these calls, and people are like, "Hey, it's going number one." I'm like, "What?" Like, that wasn't the purpose of this record, was for notoriety or success. I didn't care about that. It was really almost like a diary for me. And so people, it resonated with people, and they liked it. And I guess that's really what being an artist is about.
Yeah, yeah, and when you can pour so much truth into something and it still is received so well, those are the
Yeah.
stories that I love the most. I think it's the most interesting and rock on that you got to do that and put that out in the world. So from growing up in this group to becoming a father and a husband, and I know you poured so much of kind of these life themes into this music and into this album, but what would you say is one of the greatest life lessons you've learned along the way?
I guess that is that, life is hard, and not easy. There's going to be peaks and valleys. There's going to be things you go through, and you got to just um, handle it and understand that there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, whatever that's going to be. And I think that's what I've learned is that patience. And you know, I've definitely um, connected, you know, with what's most important to me. I am grateful for the Sphere um, show. I am grateful for, the Love Life Tragedy record success. I'm grateful for all those things. But if it goes tomorrow, if it's taken away from me, as long as I have my family, as long as I have my kids, as long as I have, my health and I've been doing this for 30 something years. I started when I was 12 years old in this industry. And, I've dedicated my whole life to that. But and I've been grateful for that success. Okay, baby, say hi. That's my daughter, Susha. Sorry. I have to bring them like so that's the other thing too. It's like when when we are doing what we're doing and I get off that stage and I'm performing, I'm thinking about taking my kids to practice, taking them, spending time with them, and that's most important to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And for everybody who can't see us, your kids are in the background, they're playing baseball. Like it's cool to see you, putting on your dad hat after walking off one of the biggest stages in the world and doing your job. And I think that's what's cool and makes you so relatable to many people in this business for sure. And you're always coming out with something. I know you have a vinyl project. We're kind of in the middle of the release. I want to make sure you have a minute to touch on that.
Yeah.
So tell me about that. What's been exciting about that?
Yeah, it's I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to comics and card collecting and so we had this idea of doing like a collectible series along with this Love Life Tragedy album. And so it's a vinyl, it's limited. Each song has a comic book that is attached to it. It's through Good Tunes, and it's been really great. I think that's just like I like tangible stuff. I like to be able to collect things. And I think our fans are kind of the same generation of people. They want to touch it and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah. One of the um one of the most burning questions I've seen on social media is does the white cat represent anyone or anything?
yeah. It, it it's all metaphorical, I guess you can say. I don't necessarily know. I had partnered with them and I approved it all and created it with them. And, so funny. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
you never know.
All right, playing a little coy. I like your style. Give the fans something to keep wondering about. Nick, man, I could talk to you for forever because it's such a pleasure. But as we wrap up, the name of the show is called I've Never Said This Before, and I cover a lot of red carpets for work and junkets, and you get like 2 minutes with somebody. And I'm a Jersey Italian that loves to talk about real stuff, and I just feel like you don't always get the opportunity to say something that's on your mind or say something that means something to you or just share something you've never really said. So, as we begin to wrap up, is there something you've never really said before through all the decades of press that you can think of that you want to say today?
Yeah. I'm gonna say this. Uh, I never wanted fame. I never wanted fame. I wanted to perform, entertain, um, and take care of the ones that I love.
And that's why it probably came to you, right? And I imagine not wanting it, it was kind of weird to receive it.
Yeah, I just wanted. I think pairing with that, I always wanted to just be a normal kid. I just wanted. I was doing what I was doing because I was providing for my family. I was taking care of the ones that I loved. And but I really, in the back of my mind, I always just looked at myself like a normal person, just like everybody else out there. I've been, blessed with this, and I do what I can with that. But yeah, I just wanted to be normal. I wanted to go to high school. I never did. I wanted to play baseball. Never did, so I live kind of vicariously through my kids. So yeah, I never wanted fame. I just wanted to be normal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's nice that you've created as normal of a life as possible with your family unit now and being so present and hands-on, which is really, really awesome. Nick, such a pleasure, man. I
Yeah, I appreciate it.
grew up rocking and rolling with you guys, and you're part of pop culture history forever. So I look forward to seeing what's next. You're always surprising us.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, be well, be well.